the hits keep coming, because here is the Department of Labor Wage and Hour. This group is not shabby in its own sense, and again, I can do 3-hour sessions on wage and hour. I'm not going to do it with you today, but what is the DOL looking for? What is the wage and hour out there policing these days? Well, if you read the paper at all, you're seeing lots and lots and lots of press about misclassified employees. I know Steve's going to talk about that a little bit too, but what are they looking for? It's exempt employees, employers who claim that their employees are exempt when really they should be non-exempt. And by exempt and non-exempt, hopefully everybody here knows what I'm talking about. If you're exempt, you can be paid a flat salary, no overtime, and you fall into one of these categories: executive, administrative, professional, outside sales, high-level computer, or you make more than $100,000 in a given year. If you're not any one of those things, you are a non-exempt employee, and you should be getting overtime when you work over, not 8 in a day, 40 in a week. And one of the gentlemen who just walked out of the room, hopefully just for a bathroom break, not because he didn't like what I was saying, in the banking business, in the mortgage business, they are getting killed out there because they have these, what I would call paraprofessionals, who wear suits, they look professional, but they're not punching a time clock. They don't want to, and the employer doesn't want them to. And they do very, very ministerial, clerical type functions like taking loan information in. It's on a form, you fill it out, there's really no negotiation or ability for the person to negotiate better terms or to figure out one rate versus another rate. They're very restricted. The banking industry for years has considered loan professionals, vice president of this, vice president of that, exempt. They're not, and they're getting hammered all over the country for big, big dollars. Bank of America, $100+ million deal all over their loan people. So I represent some mortgage companies, some credit unions, things like that. That's ripe for the picking. Imagine your office people who you don't pay overtime to, who are sort of professional. They're professional in dress, professional in the way you treat them. That is ripe for the picking for the DOL. It comes down to what they do, not what kind of business card they hand you, whether they're in a nice suit or dress. What do they do day to day? DOL believes employers are out there misclassifying for a very specific reason. They don't want to pay overtime. They don't want to pay certain benefits that come with non-exempt status. Vacation, sick accruals, employee taxes, whatever it is. Independent contractors, we'll get a little bit more into that in a second, but I've seen figures $55 billion, $200 billion. The Department of Labor and the IRS came right out and said, we're coming after you, employers, because we know you're out there trying to use independent contractors instead of calling them what they really are, and that's hourly employees who should be getting overtime, getting benefits, getting all the benefits of employment and not independent contractor status. Unpaid interns and volunteers, which we'll go a little bit into here. So President Obama came out, and the Department of Labor came out in July of this year with a big, bold initiative. And they have announced that they're going to be significantly revising the exemption status for employees. Now, I think I would agree, I know John would agree, Lester, who left, would agree, Steve. This test needed to be fixed. I mean, take a look at the test. It's so easy to beat and call someone exempt. Be paid a salary, okay, $35,000 a year. Be paid more than $455 a week, $23,660 a year. Pretty low threshold. Perform executive, administrative, professional, or all the other exempt duties that I talked about before. That is the current test today. The DOL came out, and what did they say that they're going to change it to? $970 a week, $50,000+ a year, which will increase with percentages per year and continually go up. Conservatively, that will add 5 million people easy to be eligible for overtime. It's going to completely change certain industries. Just imagine managers at a pharmacy, managers at a fast food restaurant, small business managers and things like that, supervisors. Increase the minimum salary, the $100,000 threshold to $122,000, and then keep that going by a percentage every single year going up. They didn't tweak, they haven't officially proposed that they're going to tweak the exemptions, but they are definitely looking at them. They are definitely looking at other things they can change by just changing a rule, not legislating anything, because we all know nothing's getting legislated these days. They're just going to change rules. And if you want to flout them, you can. You can also be in the crosshairs of a Department of Labor or EEOC or any of the other federal governments who can outspend you in a lawsuit with them. Not where you want to be. This last one is real scary, and we're starting to see it in litigation now, and that is working on electronic devices after hours as worked time. There's already lawsuits on it. Already lawsuits on it. Because what's the difference? If you've got a phone and you can answer emails as easily from your car as you can from the office, guess what? You're being, and I'm going to use a DOL term, suffered to work. You're suffering your employees to work. They're doing work for you. You're not paying them for it. They should be paid. That's coming. Misclassifications and unpaid interns. This one doesn't affect a whole lot of people, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but there are huge class action lawsuits going on all over the country, and the big one that came down the pipe was involving the movie The Black Swan, with some very good actresses, and it was a pretty good movie, and got a lot of hype. And these movie companies, these magazine companies, a lot in LA, a lot in the print media, they love using interns. The interns love working for a cool movie like Black Swan, and they're running around and they're doing all kinds of work. They're going to get coffee, they're scheduling, they're taking down notes, they're doing all kinds of stuff that you should be paying someone for, but these movie companies and these magazine companies aren't. They're using free, unpaid interns to do all this work. And a group of them sued Fox Searchlight, who are on the set of The Black Swan, and they won initially. It got kicked, and the appeals court found the other way, but I just saw just yesterday, movie company got hit and they settled for $1.8 million for the exact same thing, use of unpaid interns. So this court came out and disagreed with the DOL's test for what an unpaid intern is. And if you go down the list, you'll see, I'm not going to go through each one, but at the end of the day, if you're using interns, you have to make sure that it is as close to an educational experience as possible, like they were going to a college course and getting real valuable experience, as opposed to doing clerical work or doing work that should be done by paid people. They have to get more benefit out of their work than the employer does. Degree of control, very important. Same thing goes for misclassifications and the independent contractor test. So again, remember when I said before that if the government comes out and tells you they're coming for you, believe them? July 15th, my favorite guy, Department of Labor Wage and Hour Division, Administrator Dr. David Wheel, comes right out and says point blank, most workers in this country are not independent contractors. They're workers. They're non-exempt workers, specifically. And if you think you're going to pull one over on us, you've got another thing coming. We know you're out there cheating us out of billions of dollars of taxes. We're going to get you. Know it now. If you use independent contractors in your business, you need to be very, very careful about how you use them and that you do it the right way. Will an independent contractor agreement save your bacon every day? No, but it's certainly the first place a Department of Labor investigator is going to look, because at least then there's a meeting of the minds, and you're not the big bad employer trying to take advantage of some poor schnook who you don't want to hire and pay federal and state taxes for. So a well-drafted independent contractor agreement is definitely first step. Then you've got to police it and make sure that you're actually following it. So when independent contractors have these agreements and they work side by side with employees doing the exact same thing every single day for 2 years, guess what? They're an employee. They're not an independent contractor, and they're going to get you. The DOL came right out and said, you know, all those tests that we had before, forget it. This is the test that we're going to sort of use, but at the end of the day, you can use this test, but don't use it in a mechanical fashion, because we're certainly not going to. We're going to look at economic dependence. If the employee or worker depends on you more than you depend on them, their skill, their tools, their stuff, then we've got an employee and not an independent contractor. So just be aware of it. It's coming.